In a world that often feels like it's spinning out of control, where trust is a fragile thread and ambition can either lift you to the stars or plunge you into darkness, one man's relentless pursuit of truth and resilience will grip your heart and ignite your spirit. This is not just a story, it's a clarion call to break free from the chains of doubt, to rise above betrayal, and to forge a legacy that echoes beyond the ordinary. Let this tale of courage, cunning, and redemption shatter the roots of apathy and conservatism, inspiring you to chase your own truth with unyielding determination. Ethan Caldwell was no ordinary architect. At 38, he had carved a name for himself in the bustling city of Denver, Colorado, where his visionary designs transformed skylines and redefined urban living. His latest project, the Skyline Summit, a towering eco-friendly residential complex, was set to be his masterpiece, a testament to his belief that architecture could inspire hope and unity. But on a crisp October evening, as he stood on the construction site, sketching final adjustments under the glow of floodlights, his phone buzzed with a call that would unravel his world. "Ethan, you need to come home now," his wife, Claire, whispered, her voice trembling with panic. "Something's happened. Please, hurry." The line went dead before he could ask more. His heart pounded as he grabbed his jacket and sprinted to his car, the blueprints of Skyline Summit forgotten. Claire's voice wasn't just scared, it was haunted. Ethan's mind raced with possibilities, each more terrifying than the last. Was it their daughter, Mia? An accident? Something worse? The drive from downtown Denver to their sleek, modern home in the suburbs felt like an eternity. Ethan's knuckles whitened on the steering wheel as he weaved through traffic, the city lights blurring into streaks of gold and red. When he pulled into his driveway, the sight of two police cruisers, their lights flashing silently, stopped his breath. Neighbors peered from their windows, their silhouettes framed against the dusk. Ethan's stomach churned as he stepped out, the air thick with the scent of autumn leaves and something sharper fear. Inside, the living room was a nightmare. Blood streaked the white walls, pooling on the hardwood floor where a man lay lifeless, his eyes staring blankly at the ceiling. Ethan froze, his architect's mind absurdly noting the contrast between the crimson stains and the minimalist decor he'd designed. Claire stood in the corner, her hands trembling, her face pale as ash. Two officers flanked her, their notebooks open, their expressions unreadable. "Ethan," Claire choked out, rushing to him. "I had no choice. He broke in. I shot him." Her words tumbled over each other, frantic, desperate. She gestured toward the body. "He was going to hurt us." The dead man was identified as Marcus Kane, a lowlife with a rap sheet longer than the Denver Skyline burglary, assault, connections to local gangs. Claire's story was simple. She'd been home alone when Kane forced his way in, and she'd grabbed the handgun Ethan kept in a safe for protection. "One shot," she said, in self-defense. But as the officers questioned her, Ethan's sharp eyes caught something wrong. The front door was pristine, no signs of forced entry. No broken glass, no splintered wood. His chest tightened. Claire was hiding something. Their 16-year-old daughter, Mia, sat curled on the couch, her face streaked with tears. "Dad, please," she whispered, clutching his arm. "Mom's telling the truth. Just wait for her to explain." Her voice cracked, and Ethan's heart ached for her. Mia was his world, a bright, sensitive girl who loved sketching like her father and dreamed of studying environmental science. He wanted to shield her from this horror, but doubt gnawed at him. Claire's story didn't add up, and the absence of forced entry was a crack in her narrative he couldn't ignore. As the police wrapped up their initial investigation, Ethan noticed Claire's phone buzzing on the kitchen counter. A text lit up the screen from someone named Lucas Bennett. "Is it done? Call me." Ethan's blood ran cold. Lucas was a landscape architect who'd worked on several of Ethan's projects, a charming man with a knack for winning clients over with his easy smile. Ethan had never thought much of him beyond his professional skills, but that text hinted at something darker, a connection Claire hadn't mentioned. Ethan's world tilted. He was a man who built structures to withstand storms, yet his own home felt like it was crumbling. He kissed Mia's forehead, promising her everything would be okay, and sent her to stay with her aunt. Then, Alone in his study, he began to dig. He wasn't just an architect, was a problem solver, a man who saw patterns where others saw chaos, and he would uncover the truth, no matter how painful. First, he checked Claire's phone when she was in the shower. The texts between her and Lucas were extensive, stretching back months. They weren't just friendly, they were intimate, laced with plans and promises. "When this is over, we'll be free," Lucas had written. Ethan's jaw clenched. He hacked into Claire's email, a skill he'd picked up in college when he dabbled in coding. A hidden account revealed more: bank withdrawals totaling tens of thousands of dollars, emails about a new life in Costa Rica, and references to Marcus Kane. Kane wasn't just a random criminal, he'd been a contractor on one of Lucas's projects, a man with a history of doing dirty work for the right price. The pieces began to form a chilling picture. Claire and Lucas were planning something, and Kane's death wasn't a random break-in gone wrong, it was a misstep in a larger scheme. Ethan's heart sank as he uncovered the final blow: a life insurance policy taken out on him, with Claire as the sole beneficiary. $2 million. The motive was clear: they wanted him dead, and Kane had been part of the plan. Ethan could have confronted Claire then, let rage take over. But he was smarter than that. Anger wouldn't protect Mia or expose the truth. He needed evidence, and he needed help. Enter Rachel Voss, a private investigator with a reputation for discretion and a knack for uncovering secrets. Rachel was a former cop, sharp as a blade, with a no-nonsense attitude that matched Ethan's own. "You're in deep, Caldwell," she said, her eyes scanning the documents he'd compiled. "But I've seen worse. Let's nail them." Rachel's investigation moved fast. She tracked Lucas's movements, uncovering his ties to a man named Victor Slade, a fixer known for solving problems with a bullet or a blade. Lucas was already planning his next move, and Ethan was the target. Rachel's surveillance revealed Lucas and Claire meeting at a remote cabin in the Rockies, a place Lucas owned under a shell company. They were plotting Ethan's death, staging it as a suicide to collect the insurance money and vanish. Ethan played the long game. He became the perfect husband, supportive and unsuspecting. "Maybe we should take a break," he suggested to Claire over dinner, his voice calm despite the storm inside him. "A sabbatical, just the three of us. Somewhere warm." Claire's eyes flickered with unease, but she agreed, her smile forced. He mentioned reviewing their insurance policies. Watching her reaction, a slight tightening of her jaw, a quick glance away. She was nervous, and he was closing in. To strengthen his position, Ethan leaned on his network. He met with Olivia Grant, a powerful real estate developer who admired his work on Skyline Summit. He confided in her, securing her support and access to her influential contacts. He also connected with Nathan Cole, a media strategist who could shape public perception if the truth came out. And he enlisted Sarah Whitaker, a brilliant attorney who specialized in white-collar crime. They were his allies, his foundation for the battle ahead. Rachel's surveillance at the cabin paid off. Hidden cameras and microphones captured Claire and Lucas's conversations, their voices cold and calculating. "He's asking about the insurance," Claire said, her voice low. "We need to move fast," Lucas replied. "Slade's ready. We'll make it look like he couldn't handle the pressure of the Summit project." Ethan listened to the recordings in Rachel's office, his hands shaking with a mix of fury and relief. He had them. The final act was a masterstroke. Ethan orchestrated a charity gala for Skyline Summit, ensuring he was seen by Denver's elitist alibi airtight. While he smiled and shook hands, Rachel tipped off the police, leading them to the cabin where Claire, Lucas, and Slade were finalizing their plan. The raid was swift. Officers stormed the cabin, catching the trio off guard. The recordings sealed their fate, exposing the conspiracy to murder Ethan and defraud the insurance company. Claire and Lucas were arrested, along with Slade, who turned on them to save himself. The trial was a media frenzy, but Ethan stayed above it, his reputation intact. Claire and Lucas were convicted of conspiracy to commit murder, fraud, and a slew of other charges. They faced decades in prison, their dreams of a new life shattered. Ethan rebuilt his life with Mia, moving to a new home where they could start fresh. He threw himself into Skyline Summit, turning it into a beacon of sustainable design and community. Mia, inspired by her father's resilience, began sketching again, her dreams of environmental science stronger than ever. Ethan's legacy wasn't just in the buildings he designed, but in the courage he showed, the truth he uncovered, and the love he preserved for his daughter. This story isn't just about betrayal, it's about rising above it. It's about seeing through the lies, building alliances, and fighting for what matters. Ethan Caldwell didn't just survive, he thrived, proving that even when the world tries to break you, you can design your own redemption. Let this be your spark, your call to action. Break free from the ordinary, chase your truth, and build something extraordinary.